Hey everybody, Doug here from 2 Plus Tough, and we're going to be hanging out and doing some hobby streams this week. So basically, if you don't know, I'm kind of gearing up to do some Warhammer Quest live with people. We're going to start with Silver Tower because we don't really have a ETA, so to speak, on Cursed City. But I thought we could, why wait? So basically, we're going to be building and painting up the Silver Tower set. When Cursed City comes out, we'll do the same thing. We'll have a bunch of live streams while I paint all that up to a good standard. And basically be playing live with people, starting with patrons, of course, because they are my number one supporters, patrons and YouTube members. And if you want to join in, go ahead and be a part of them. I've been posting a lot more lately over there, just trying to be a better community leader, that kind of stuff. So today, we're going to kick it off by doing some, what are these? Kairic Acolytes, which is a unit that I'm excited for because I have a bunch more coming in the mail because I like the models so much. Once I was kind of holding off on buying them because I was like, I don't know if I want to do Tzeentch stuff again. I did demons before, but this will be the mortal side of things. But I'm having so much fun painting because so much of their model is flesh, and I do enjoy painting like skins and things like that. That I'm actually having a blast. So got a bunch more of those coming in. We'll go out of the downward cam here. And I'm going to pop out the chat so I can see it better. It's already filling up. Hey. Captain Athenos, good morning. Hey. Jamie Higgins, hi. Spezia. So stupid hype for this. Oh, thank you, buddy. That means the world to me. Thank you so much. Kenzie came for the turtles. So, okay. I'm hanging out in my Discord, right? The kind of place where everyone should be like, wow, Doug's so smart and so cool. I'm just kidding. I'm 100% kidding. But the discussion at some point turned into why some people don't like pandas. And I said, well, I can't stand turtles. And you didn't nosedive into the new Slaanesh? Oh, yeah. It's not for me. It didn't stand out for me. I've never been a Slaanesh guy, to be honest with you, but I do like some of the new models. I will be honest. So we got some base colors down already just because I was testing schemes. Yeah, here's my test guy. Okay, got to keep him. I am having them match my Slaves to Darkness with the, what am I trying to say? The red and yellow stuff going on. And so we're just going to crank through these guys. So you're going to see the old Doug rigmarole here as I ping pong models. Basically, I batch paint. So I have my guide model. I paint one up and then paint them and kind of ping pong them back and forth. So I actually want to start with the... what do I want to start with? I want to start with the cloth and the fabrics and all of that stuff first. So got my paints here. We'll go with this. We'll go with these. And... yeah, I think we'll do skins last. So I got my chat here. Let's see. Okay, so yes, we're talking about turtles in the Discord. I apologize for losing my thought there. And I mentioned that I can't stand turtles. Okay, and they're like, why? So here's the thing. People are always saying, oh, poor turtles, whatever. But the truth is, if they cared about their species, maybe they wouldn't crap their kids out half a mile up the shore and make their babies walk through a literal death field as they have to reach the shore. And so I'm just like, you know what? Screw the turtles. Help those who help themselves. Tons of animals that are actually trying to survive out there. Pity them, not the turtles. That is the cold, hard stance of 2 Plus Tough when it comes to turtles. So I thank you. Just wanted to reiterate that I am not ashamed of my beliefs, my turtle disdain, if you will. But anyway, you can have more conversations that are ridiculous like that over on my Discord. Let's see, but it was quite a bit of fun. So that. Not seeing any other leather. I think we're good. The journey maketh the turtle. I guess, but it just doesn't have to be like that, you know? You don't have to have a bunch of your kids die. Seems weird. What do I think about Broken Realms Belakor? Well, I think they missed the opportunity to establish his name is now pronounced Belakor, which is, of course, the French version of Belakor, and he should be, based on all of the, what is it? The, not accents, what do you call it? The little, like, scribbles above the letters, that kind of stuff. I'm terrible at words. I'm excited. For some reason, I heard a rumor, and I just assumed it was true, that all of the Broken Realms books were going to be, like, named after, the Elven gods. So I'm happy to see that it's not, because I still want my Broken Realms Gordrak. But I think that would be a fantastic way to kind of recenter things back to chaos stuff. Just have a big chaos hero that people love and I don't know, cherish or whatever. I don't know Belakor's full history. I honestly, I learned more about him by trying to do research for Archaon than I actually did for Belakor. So, it seems like a cool character. A lot of people are very excited. I still like his old model. The only thing about it, though, is the size difference between... He looks more... He's closer in size to, like, a common demon prince, but he's still pretty scrawny compared to them. So I'm excited that, as a named character demon prince, he should be a little bigger. But with all the Broken Realm stuff, I contain my enthusiasm because it keeps me from being disappointed. And, yeah. So there's been a lot to talk about this week already, and it's only Monday. My goodness. So, yes, we have Belakor. Broken Realms Belakor announced, which is surprising because we don't even have Broken Realms Teclis in hand yet. I did not expect that. So there's that. Then they also started doing, Model Mondays, where they're basically, I think a part of it, and this is a sincere opinion, that I think they just, things are so backed up with production and, just releases and stuff like that, that I believe that there's kind of, at least their marketing team or the Warhammer community team is kind of struggling for content because they're used to release every week, and it's difficult. I can't imagine having to kind of make all that work on the fly. So I think they're just looking for content, and that's totally cool. How do we have content but also, get people excited for a very specific thing? So the miniature we got shown today, and I don't have it pulled up. I'm going to go into deeper detail on Friday for the Wire Reforging, because that's kind of the show that I want to be able to talk about news and stuff like that. But very cool looking vampire model with some rats scurrying out of his cape and stuff. Absolutely lovely. Let's see. I'm just looking here for questions. If you have questions, just say @Doug or question in all caps, just so I can see it. It really does help me. Let's see. Question: am I allowed to be salty that I bought a plastic demon prince a month before the new Belakor is previewed? I mean, you have permission to be salty whenever you want. I feel like that's not really cause, but you do you. I wouldn't be. I still like the Demon Prince kit. And Belakor, if that's who you bought was the specific Belakor model, he is a tiny dude. And I'm going to skip this song because it's the one where the lady makes weird howling noises. For what I'm going to say is no good reason. Okay, got that. And I got got Skeleton Horde just to clip out there. Some of them have little like bird skull danglies on them. Such a weird song. I don't get it. Okay. The release delays are getting a bit much. Community outpacing releases is a lot. Leaf Erickson. Doug, do you think all the Chaos Gods will get avatars like Slaanesh? Well, we have yet to actually see any hint of a actual avatar model, so the question is a little bit not mute, not vague, but you know, I can't answer. I don't know. I mean, we don't even know what it means for Slaanesh to have one. You know what I mean? Like, I made the assumption, I put it out there that like, oh, this is a way that they could have, you know, add an actual like model for a Chaos God. He's the only one that's in the realm, so to speak. But we don't really know what the full extent of what that actually means yet, so I do not know. I imagine if they do, or if let's say they make, you know, a full-blown like Slaanesh embodiment for the table, I think they probably would. But the thing is like, how do they? No. They get into some weird territory because then the 40k people are going to expect it to work in their game as well, and so then they have to balance like narratively, how does that happen over there? And then, you know, the second Slaanesh hits, everyone else is going to be like, oh my god, I want my, you know, where's my Khorne one? And then, I don't know. I would be just as happy if they didn't, but that's just me. I'm not in a rush to have a model for every single thing in the world. I'm pretty easily satisfied when it comes to, hey, here's just a cool looking dude. Cool. Oh, I forgot this guy. Forgot totally that I had him. Okay. Got that. Still need this. He needs the cloak done. And one more guy here. And so what I'm doing right now is just laying down some simple colors with contrast, and then I go over with a wash just to kind of deepen the color and bring it together just a hint. Also, I think we will be seeing a generic Demon Prince kit with Belakor. I've heard some people say that. No idea. Doug, in the fluff, he has it now, right? No, not necessarily. We don't quite know. So, to clarify it for you, Leif Erikson, essentially what was written in the fluff is that he did spit out a pure piece of his essence. However, it hasn't taken a form, so we don't know if that's supposed to be something that's too big to represent with a model. Knowing how big of a creature or chaos god, I mean, technically Sigmar's been a character, but he doesn't have a model, and I don't foresee him getting one anytime soon. So it could be something like that. Again, there's a million ways it can go, but nothing has been confirmed as far as a model goes. So yeah, sorry if that was a bubble burster. I just try to keep expectations, you know, reasonable, because based on what we know, that kind of stuff. So that's always where I'm coming from. Question: if Gorkamorka was become personified, let's see, become personified and an entity birthed in the mortal realms, what would you like that event that caused that to be? Okay, that's a lot. I mean, that's a lot of words. Okay, so the question is essentially, if Gorkamorka had a model, what would it be? Is that Sean? Is that kind of the question I'm picking up? For me, I don't know. You know, honestly, I'm gonna say this. typically models with 2 heads look dumb to me. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I can't think of a good example. I don't know. I don't want him to be like an orc with 2 heads. I think that would look silly. I want something else. I don't know what though. Let's throw down some base colors here. We got Distributor armor. I need this. And not that. Give me 1 second. Grab the wrong silver. What event would cause that? I mean, I have no idea. No idea whatsoever. I'd rather see a Tzeentch scenery piece before an avatar. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Kenzie, I'm averse to avatars of Chaos Gods. Greater Demons already fill that role. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, if I'm honest. I don't need to see a model of Tzeentch. Here's what I'll say. Like, you know, if we think about the times that we see, like, actually see our villains and the stuff like that in movies and junk, you know, for every one entrance of Darth Vader where it's like this epic scene that is part of cinema history, there's a million of those that just fall flat, that don't work because they are not creatures that were meant to be seen. You know, that kind of thing where it's like, you know, Darth Vader came onto the scene and he just has this momentous presence, but then there's also just heroes and villains that don't have that. And they try for it, and you're like, man, this just is not epic. I don't know how else to word it. You were going for epic, you missed it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not shooting anyone's ideas down. Like, I'm just leaving things open. Like, I'm not going to tell you that it's coming. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Slaanesh is going to get like an actual model to have presence on the table. And so, you know, if it doesn't happen, I won't be disappointed. If it does, cool. You know, and that's honestly how I keep happy in this hobby. So much of the salt we see online is from people who get their hopes up and are disappointed. It's like, well, Games Workshop never said that they were doing blank. You assumed it. And that's, just to be clear, it's not what I'm saying is happening in the chat. That's my opinion on why I typically am fairly wishy-washy when it comes to like what I think Games Workshop's doing, because most of the time it's like, I do firmly believe that sometimes they don't know what they're doing, and like, you know, in terms of like direction or whatever, they're just kind of like throwing stuff against the wall. And that's all right. Sometimes businesses do that, and there's nothing wrong with it. You just gotta throw stuff against the wall sometimes. I gotta go back to the first guy. I totally missed the back side of his helmet. Even as I'm painting this one, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy does have a back of his head. So I'm doing a Runelord Brass for, it's a combination of Lead Belcher and Runelord Brass for his armor bits. Because I like the way those two paints look together. Runelord Brass has become quickly my favorite metal color. I don't know if you guys have ever tried it. It's pretty dope. Let's see. Okay, so if I miss your question, go ahead and just ask it again. I'm just going to look up at the chat and catch whatever I can. So Rick, question, what paints did I use for the skin? I have a few different skin tones here. I like to have, we'll say racially diverse armies. The Caucasian looking skin is straight Gilliman and flesh. And I'm going to give it a little bit of a wash. And by a little bit, I mean a thorough wash, because I go pretty dark on the skin tones. I'm kind of going for a John Blanche style, not with the conversions and stuff, but more the color palette, very deep contrast, dark, everything. So just because I like it. And then, so that's Caucasian skin. It's just straight Gilliman flesh. And I'll go over the muscle bits with Acadian flesh tone as a highlight. And let's see, this guy has, dark skin. It's a 2-to-1 mixture of contrast medium, 2 parts of that, and 1 part Cygor flesh, actually, which is an extremely heavy pigment, deep brown contrast paint that I don't recommend using straight out of the pot. There are just some paints in the contrast line that they only look like a color when you dilute them. Otherwise they just kind of look like too dark to comprehend what it's supposed to be. And that's one of them. So that actually I think makes really great dark skin. There's just a little bit in there that got missed. That's okay. I'm okay with missing just tiny bits, just because the wash will kind of fill in some of the details there at the end. Sweet. Okay, got that. Let's see. Hey Doug, did you see the new Soulblight vampire on the Warhammer community preview? I did. Yeah, I was gonna I'll save a full discussion on it for while you're reforging, because that's kind of the point of that show. But he is very cool. If you have not checked it out, there is a vampire with a small sea of rats under his cloak. He's not just happy to see you. Those are a pack of rats under his cloak. And he looks awesome. Very excited for the vampire stuff that's coming. I know that I want to get enough for a Warcry warband. I don't know if I'm going to go full army. At that point, it just depends on what else is in the range. I've said it for a while now. If they have zombies, I'm in. If there's new zombies, I'm in. But everything that I've seen so far is so cool. I love the models. But it hasn't quite gotten me over that edge yet. Not quite yet. I demand better zombies. Only then will the prophecy be filled and Doug will play a death army for the first time. I mean, I had some death stuff before, but it was long before Legions of Nagash ever came out, even. It was back in the Wild West days of AOS, when every player was a narrative player because competitive stuff didn't exist. We had to make up our own points, uphill both ways. Let's see. Doug, had any Hot Pockets lately? I have not had a Hot Pocket since college, but I like to reference them as the ultimate nerd food. Let's see. Has anything happened with Marvel getting the rights to 40K? Nope. They licensed out Marnius Calgar and some of the stuff for a comic book series. Then they pretty much did the same for Wizards of the Coast because they're making a Magic the Gathering set of 40K cards to really squeeze every last dime out of pretty much every 40K player. And that's all I've heard. I don't know about anything else. I'm just gonna say, if they are bold enough to try and ever make another Warhammer 40K movie, it better be good or the people will revolt. Personally, couldn't care less, but I don't know. There's a lot of this. Whenever they license out their IP to another large company, like say Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, or you know, Disney obviously owns Marvel. There's this fear that they're going to sell the company. It's like, but they're publicly traded. You know, they would have to buy the majority of shares. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that. I'm just like, I'm just not worried about it. Or I guess they wouldn't have to buy the majority of shares, but majority of shareholders would have to be on board. I don't know. Sometimes I oscillate between really wanting Hasbro or Disney to buy them and then not. Because as much as I love like having, you know, this hobby kind of be its own little jam, kind of off to the side, boy God, would I love some of the communication tactics that those big companies use for their other things, like, you know, knowing what to expect and when to expect it, and I don't know. There's just some of that stuff where it's like some of those larger corporations just understand marketing and media on a different level, certainly more on an international scale. And I'm like, yeah, I think there's a lot to be gained, you know. But then of course I go back to my like, yeah, but I like them being their own thing. So again, I don't think there's a right answer. I think it just is what it is, but I don't foresee them. I don't think they're gonna sell off to the actual Great Horned Rat, which is of course Mickey Mouse, anytime soon. Because if nothing else, those jokes would never end. Let's see. Some random YouTube commenter, love the name. Hi Doug, I just got a box of Silver Tower from my store. Was wondering if I need anything else to play. Nope, it is a completely self-contained game. That is honestly, I was standing in the store holding Blackstone Fortress, being like, well, if I'm gonna go in on, you know, live play stuff, I was like, I should probably just do Silver Tower first. Then I can figure out other stuff. But yes, they are all of these kinds. Typically, when well, I'm gonna emphasize the word typically here. When G-Dubs puts out a box game like that, it's everything you need to play. A startling example of the opposite is this latest Kill Team box they put out, where I don't think it has everything you need to play, because I think you still need to buy the rulebook separately, which it boggles my mind. But yeah, that's for a different community to outrage about, not so much me. But yeah, it does have everything you need, and there's even in the back of the book. Just I don't want you to miss it. So I've been told multiple times that the game is fairly easy. Like if your, you know, players are really paying attention to what's going on, then it's not the most challenging. That being said, I'm okay with that because it'll be my first game that I try to do this with. You know, the live play stuff, and there's ways to make it more challenging, because in the back of the book, this is where I was going before I derailed myself. In the back of the book, there are expansions where there's a few different more enemy types. You can grab some other Tzeentch models, like an Exalted Flamer and that kind of stuff, and have them be the villains. So there are ways to make it a little more harsh. But I was told, actually, but he's in the chat, Tectonic Crafts said that the shooting was kind of OP, because as long as you have, you know, some form of melee tank to tie them down, shooting is basically, the range is just, can you see them, right? You know, because it's played on tiles, and so they didn't really go through the hassle of creating like weapon ranges and that kind of stuff. It's just, as long as they're not adjacent to you, and you can fire. Boom. That's it. I was like, oh, okay. But I will say I've been playing the ever-loving heck out of the app game. It's not pay to win or anything like that. It is extremely grindy, but honestly, I think most app games are, if I'm totally honest with you. I mean, you can spend real money to get stuff that like speeds up the game, but I feel like at that point, why are you playing it? That's always been, anytime like a game has like XP boosters or anything like that, I'm like, yeah, but like why would I buy this if I didn't want to actually like play it the whole way out? It's like, because we made it so grindy that you want to spend money. Like, oh, that's crappy. Yeah, Angel Dude with the bow just murders everything as soon as the doors open. Okay, well, you know, the good thing is, though, that's an expansion, dude. You know, he doesn't come in the core set, so that's all you got now. Well, my paintbrushes just fell over, scared the crap out of me, so I'm going to be right back and change my friggin' pants. Okay. We're good. Everything's fine. We're fine. I just must have knocked it over just a hair. Ooh, that was a good jolt. Let's see. Do you think Nighthaunt will be getting a new battle tome? I'm sure at some point they will. When? I do not know. I hope soon. There's so many good models in there that just... They have great lore, they have amazing art, but they just don't get taken much. You know, I'm somebody, of course, on this channel, I advocate taking what looks cool. And I always, you know, that's how I play my games. I take what I like the look of. I buy models that I like the look of, and I play the stuff I own, right? But I will say Nighthaunt is an army where the models not doing what they do in the lore, it reaches a point where it's like, well, then sometimes it reaches a point where I'm like, yeah, but then why would I get it if I can't do the thing, you know? If I can't do the trick that they do in the books. I was actually having this discussion, if you haven't seen it, Warhammer Weekly had a great topic of discussion recently where Vince put together and it's his opinion, so he's entitled to it, of like game design, which battle tomes are the best designed ones and that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like a grid chart of like, you know, overall competitiveness versus good design versus bad design, that kind of stuff. And I was having a conversation with my buddy Brent from Rerolling Ones about it, and I had said, well, to me, like the best books are the ones where, you know, when you pay your $40 for a battle tome, half of that book, if not more, usually more, has nothing to do with gameplay, right? It's just lore. The first half of the book is lore. And so my metric for a good battle tome is, if you read the first part with all the lore, does the second part let you play that on the table? Ultimately, we are playing fictional armies, and the gameplay is meant to bring those things to life, you know, and that's why Warhammer will never be balanced. And, you know, for that reason, we're trying to bring these crazy esoteric stuff to the tabletop. But some books do it very well. I would say that like Iron Jaws is a book that when you read the Iron Jaws section and then you put your Ard Boys on the table, they do what it says on the tin. Nighthaunt are one where I'm like, I don't get that same sense. You know, when someone throws down Black Coaches actually is probably a bad example because they can be scary on the table for sure. But there's just some models when you put them down, you're just like, this is, you know, supposed to do XYZ in the lore, and then you're just like, there's just no way for it to actually do XYZ. So that is my measurement of how well a book does. It's right up there with how in all the stories Arcanaut dudes are like straight up SEAL Team 6s, and then you put them on the table and they just insta-kill. You know, they just die. Yeah, it happens. It's a bummer, but it happens. There's not a lot on him. Okay. I'm just being all kinds of messy here. We'll come back and clean this section up here with some silver in a sec. So my goal here is basically to throw down all the metallics and then give them a heavy wash, and then while they are drying, I'll come back around and pick out the skin. And that'll take a bit because there's different kinds of skin going on here. Yeah. Arcanaut are really good for 90 points. Jack, the guy amongst my friend groups who knows how to play the game, says they're good. I believe him. I would follow Jack's tactical advice to the gates of hell. And also, hi, my friend. How are you? I'm feeling much better today. Thank you. I didn't even get your text until I woke up. I had some Indian food last night that did not agree with me. I'm trying to eat new things and trying to eat healthier, and so I was just experimenting with all different kinds of like veggie plates and that kind of stuff, and hit some stuff that I was just like, my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes, Doug, you're not meant to eat this. Okay, got his little belt. And okay. Question 2 plus tough. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Malarian and his elf spawn, particularly what you hope they'll be like. Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I promise I'm not ignoring any of you. Like I said, I'm just grabbing the first questions that I see. If yours did not get answered, just be like Mr. Dragon and put it back in, because I just saw you asked it before. So I only know Malekith, which is his old world name, from the Sundering series, so I don't know a ton about him specifically. He always seemed like such a badass character that I just like. So I'm excited for him. As far as what I want the army to be like, I want them to be glass cannon and dodgy personified. I guess the closest example I can think of is actually Genestealer cults from 40k, and if you're not familiar with that, they basically, some of their units just straight up don't deploy on the board. They can pop out of terrain. They can go back into the terrain and like disappear. You can take them off board, and they are incredibly hard hitting when they're allowed to swing. So don't let them do that. But they just have a lot of ways to be dodgy on the board. So no objectives are ever safe, because they'll just retreat a unit into the shadows and pop out somewhere else. So it just, they'll usually have cheap troops that they can push forward on the table. So your opponent has to deal with something, but at the same time, everything in the backfield is fading in out of shadows and junk like that. So I'm a sucker for those kinds of armies, if I'm honest. I meant to get his sword with that Ruin Lord Brass. So yeah, I don't know. I that's kind of what I want, to be honest with you. I just want, I guess what I don't want, to put it probably in a clearer way, I don't want an army that talks about how stealthy it is and then none of that shows up on the tabletop. It's like they're super stealthy because, and basically all they do is have a bunch of spells with like negative modifiers to hit. Like, that would suck. Give me something where, like, terrain matters and how they attack and that kind of stuff, and having like multiple small threats, because that's actually a Genestealer cult thing as well. Is they typically, you can have large units, It's not really what they're best at. Typically, it's a lot of multiple small units because it creates a lot of different threats, and you can just saturate the table with different threats. And there's so much power in that that it's insane. Because there's a certain point where it's like, yeah, your enemy can kill all these units, but can they kill them fast enough before you can reach them? Before they reach you. Because if the answer is no, they're going to clean your clock. Spoiler alert, if you let one of those Genestealer cult guys into your lines with the big saw that can cut through the heavens itself, you're going to have a bad time. Your Genestealer cult player is going to have the greatest time ever, though. Just going to give that a heads up. Thanks for answering my question. Oh, yeah. No problem, man. I'm super happy to. I wanted to fill that in because that's kind of what I want. I want a faction that really embodies that. Back before Cities of Sigmar, it was kind of my answer, too, when people were like, what would you want the Wanderers to be like? They have the whole realm root system, and technically Sylvan F have that, where they can like teleport through trees and junk, but I don't like the fact that they are so tied up in their terrain. Whereas I feel like a faction based around shadows and stuff like that, any terrain could do. Then again, I don't know. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, well, I don't want an army that's just like, yeah, it's like Sylvaneth, but better. You know what I mean? That's a bit hard one. Bravery Bomb. That's a fantastic idea. Yes, and this is Silver Tower. I am painting it up so we can play together live online. I even went and made a super secret Discord that I haven't shared yet because I'm still kind of setting it up. Where basically that's where the voice hangout will be, so we can play games together, and it has like a bot in there that you can type in a command and it rolls the dice for you, so that it'll help me keep track of everything. So later on I can just revisit our game session and see exactly who rolled what when, in case I need to do it. So yeah, the idea, if you haven't caught me talking about it, and I feel like I've been talking about it nonstop, so if it's annoying, I apologize. But essentially, I'm going to get Silver Tower built up, and if Cursed City comes out first, I'm going to go straight into painting that. I want to play whatever is most recent, but I get the sense that we might have to wait a bit more on Cursed City because of delays in shipping and manufacturing and stuff. I have no hard evidence on that. I just want to be ready for it. Anyway, so I'm super excited for that. Actually, I want to make that gold. And so in the meantime, we'll play Silver Tower, just so I can get used to the setup and how it all works. The idea is I'll take a couple patrons and YouTube members at first and play a few rounds. We'll get a game in, one solid expedition. And then I don't know. I'm kind of debating. I'll see how everybody feels about it. But one part of me was like, well, I'll take our video and then I'll chop it down into like a 30 or so minute video so people can follow along, and I'll keep track of how characters upgrade and that kind of stuff on my end. And we'll just go through the Silver Tower together. Players can pick up and walk away as they wish. If it's time to upgrade a character and you're the one who's controlling it, you decide how he gets leveled up. I think that sounds fair and square. Faw and squaw. Yeah. So that's the idea. Just playing together live. F it, we'll do it live. So yeah. Jack says he's a patron. Yes, my friend, and you are also a deep friend. So yeah, I'd love to have you on. I think I was going to do some tests, some demo reels with Brent as well. Mainly because you know, my best friends are also my favorite guinea pigs. Okay. And then hopefully I have the system kind of down by the time Cursed City drops, so we can pretty seamlessly just hop into that. I think that would be really cool. So I was thinking about it, I was like, man, you know, I'm reaching that point where it's not just about AOS lore videos. Like, people just want to hang out, and this would be a really cool way to do that. What I'm saying is, I'm famous. I'm famous. That's me. Question. Hey, Doug. Our D&D session you wanted to come back to is happening this weekend. Do you still want the invite? Ooh, what day is it this weekend? Let me think on that. It depends on the time. I don't want to derail your guys' time at all. I'll keep an eye out here on the chat for you. Let's see. Did Silver Tower ever have any expansions or rules for other characters in a White Dwarf article or something like that? Sort of. So when the game launched, they put their best foot forward with it. In terms of, there was actually at one point an app where you could create heroes, you could track the progress of the heroes that came in the box. It had expansions for a myriad of different enemies and that kind of stuff. It was really cool. There were expansions in this in the form of, like, you know, I mentioned the app had them, but there was also like a villains pack or something like that to fill the whole dungeon up with different stuff. Well, the problem is the game didn't sell well. In my opinion, the reason was because Age of Sigmar, when it launched, was not a shall we say, a beloved intellectual property. Hot on the heels of people still being mad about fantasy going away. And so I think they did all the right things, but they hadn't rebuilt, I should say, the goodwill with the new audience. Whereas I feel like Cursed City, I've heard more people express excitement for than Silver Tower ever got, because it just, you know, people weren't in love with the world yet. So they did do quite a bit. So as far as expansions go, they had the villain pack, they had a full app, which is now gone, which is a shame. Hope they bring it back. What else was there? I mean, there certainly was not expansions in the same way that Blackstone Fortress has, if that's what you mean, if that's what you're comparing it to. Nothing like that. Where it had its own, I guess it did have its own boxes, but those miniatures were already pre-sold. They did have like a heroes pack type thing, with, you know, different warriors that you can bring through the Silver Tower and that kind of stuff, but that was about it. So I'm gonna give you a firm-ish. It was sort of supported, and the support didn't last for terribly long. Again, I mainly think it wasn't selling because people weren't into Age of Sigmar yet, and I don't know. I mean, it's the same. I had the same feeling when it came to the Realm Gate War, like the narrative campaign books. They were astounding books, beautiful art, compelling stories. Everything about them was just freaking dope. Except that nobody wanted to play with them because they didn't, you know, they came out, the game didn't have points. People were mad about fantasy, and I think that made them scared to try stuff like that again. You know, I think they've kind of come back around, because now we have stuff like Psychic Awakening and obviously Broken Realms. But I think that was a blow that took them a while. And I think it just had more to do with the intellectual property than it did the actual content. The content was on point. But the audience just wasn't ready for it. They were like, look at this new Age of Sigmar thing. And everyone in the whole world was just like, too soon, bro. Way to make it awkward. Too soon. GW's like, but we have cool things. Let's see. Follow up on Time If It Got Buried this Saturday at noon. I should absolutely be able to do that. Yes, invite me, and I will absolutely talk to my wife. Honestly, typically on Saturdays, we stay home and she works online. She's a writer, and so she just kind of like writes her own stuff. So, yeah, I should be home. Can't imagine why I wouldn't be. I'm going to say yes. And if any emergency comes up, I will, I'll email you. And you know, a tentative yes is better than a firm maybe in the Griggs lexiconum. Let's see. Silver Tower is the very thing that got me into AOS. Bought my second copy yesterday. That's fantastic. Let's see. I was one of those early adopters. Had a Skaven Tree Lord army. That's rad. Let's see. Question: when do you think dwarves are getting their release? I do not know of a dwarf release. Is there something I don't know? You say when as if it's an established thing, so I'm just assuming there's something I missed. I want to make sure I understand. If someone could educate me in the chat, that'd be wonderful. As far as I know, there's no foregone conclusion releases. Doug is the reason I got into Warhammer. Aww, buddy, thank you. Too good of you. Nary a word about Duarden. Yep, pretty much. Let's see. Love your channel, lore breakdown of AOS. Trying to get into AOS from 40k, but I was a huge fan of dwarves and the counts. Any recommendations to ease into them? Oh yeah, you're trying to look for lore on, what is it? Dwarves and the vampire counts. I cannot recommend it enough. I just finished the audiobook, Neferata, Dominion of Bone? I think there's Bone and Blood, and I think they're written by the same guy, so I'd imagine the other one is just as good, but fantastic books. Oh my god, Neferata's a beast. I will say, I don't care what vampires come out. If Neferata's in the Soulblight book, which she should be, in my opinion, I'm in like Flynn. What else? What would I recommend? I'll be honest with you, the vampires are an easier thing to point you to than the dwarves are right now, because I guess it depends. So if you like Fire Slayers, there's actually several Fire Slayer short stories and books. I don't have their names off the top of my head. There's so many books. I can't keep track of them all. But there are quite a few good ones. Especially the Gotrek series, because they kind of brought a lot of that from the old world. What else? Yeah, if anyone has any ideas, go ahead and help me out so I don't look like a total dingus. My thing is, I'm terrible at remembering book names. I'll be like, yeah, you know, the one with the city and it's full of secrets, and people be like, you mean City of Secrets? Like, that sounds right. When actually I meant something completely different. I was just like talking out of my butt. She and Manfred have to be? Oh, absolutely. Oh, you're just hoping for a Fire Slayer release. No, I haven't heard anything, unfortunately. I'm sorry, I didn't know that was the question you were asking. Oh, yes. Kairic and Overlords. What is it? There's something I can see. Oh, I'm at a good stopping point to pause for a hot sec. I'm gonna go to the Black Library website. I can see it. Overlords of the Iron Dragon by C.L. Werner has been regarded as a very great book. And actually, I'll do this for you, buddy. Go to the shared screen. So this is the book I was thinking of for the Kairic Overlords. And I've heard amazing things about it. I haven't read it myself. It's on my list to read. There's also a Fyreslayer's compendium collection with 3 stories in here, and I know that I've read 4,000 Days by David Geimer. I did like that one quite a bit. The other 2 I haven't. See, that's the thing is, like with Black Library, they'll put out a message of like, hey, you should check out this short story, but then they never mention it again. And I don't feel like they package them or collect them in ways that are like super easy to find. So I really struggle to keep up with everything. There's actually a lot here that I have not read or listened to. I'm trying to get into more audiobook stuff. Trying to think of other specific ones. Yeah, is it this one? Yes, Neferata Dominion of Bones. If you want some kick-ass story, I finished that book and I was like, I need more. I necesito más. So yeah, there's a few other ones here. Okay. Oh man, my arm looks weirdly red. So let's see. Spear of Shadow, 8 Lamentations, also a good one. That one's a great one for... It's our only depiction of Grugni. $40. Would you see it's $40? Some of their audio dramas are insanely priced. I will not lie to you. $40. I don't know what you saw that was 40 on there. Oh, bundles? Yeah, they have a big old bundle collection of novellas. I like vampire on vampire violence. Question from Spetsy. I just now saw at the top here. Do you think gravelords will get their own starter, or will GW keep them as the undercover box in the Flesh Eater Court one? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know what GW is kind of planning when it comes to the start collecting boxes. I honestly, because we haven't gotten one in so long, my wager is that they are basically doing the maths on how the combat patrol boxes have done. And, the company, it takes years to make a big shift, right? They had combat patrol boxes. If you don't know, it's the smallest format that you can play 40K in. They are coming in at like 140, I think. So $60 more than a start collecting box, but you get a literal 1-by army. Okay, which honestly, I'm a big proponent of. I would rather pay 140 and literally be able to play the game, with like the models, at least on the model portion of things, than anything else. You know what I mean? Like start collecting box, but it's not quite enough to play. You have to buy a few other things. Some of AOS start collecting boxes are kind of rough, to be perfectly honest with you. So I would rather do that. So my point is, I think they're calculating to see, okay, wait, if combat patrol boxes, meaning the smallest version of 40K that you can play, are doing well, that would be incredible. And I'd imagine they're going to hold off on AOS start collecting boxes until AOS 3.0 launches. Maybe they rejigger Path to Glory to be the combat patrol equivalent or something with smaller point games, and then start selling what are essentially whatever that version of combat patrol is. And I would be cool with that. Let me take a swig of water here. So, all that to say, I don't know if we're actually ever going to have combat patrol boxes, start collecting boxes in the same way. This is what I wanted. Null oil. But also, typically with the ones that we have gotten for AOS, the army comes out, and then like a year and a half later, that's when we get the start collecting box. And that might be the same thing. Where I bet for the first year, maybe 2, assuming start collecting boxes stick around. The only way to get the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon, low-key, grab your Flesh Eater Court box. But, I don't know. It kind of makes me curious. Like, that's, you know, and obviously that comes down to opinion on price point and stuff. I have good friends. You know, Buddy Brent over on Really Only Ones is just really cautious about how high the price gets, just because, you know, I mean, his perspective, which is absolutely on point, is if the game gets too expensive, we can't get new players in, and then the game just dies a slow death. And I totally get, you know, the kind of caution around that. I guess my thought on the other end is just, I would much rather pay $140 and have a full army than $85 and need to buy more. Just as a consumer, just, you know, but every consumer is different. And what's so funny is I'm only like that when it comes to, like, I only have that perspective when it comes to Warhammer. Like, if I'm at the store and I see an item, I can't even think of an example right now, you know, something that I could modify to make it what I want, I would still buy it, and then I would just cut it up and modify it. But with Warhammer, I'm like, no, I want a one-stop purchase. It's just like, some of these guys have weird anklet things. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any of those. Okay, that one's silver. But yeah. Let's see. Hey Doug, so I'm late to the party. Do you think the rat vampire guy will have a hero card included in the novel? A hero card. A hero card. What do you mean hero card? You mean like for Cursed City? I don't know if I'll have a hero card that you can play him, but he might have a villain card that you can fight him. But as is my my stance with previews, as it has always been, the proper way to receive new Games Workshop releases is you just kind of sigh, lean back, crack open a beer, and say, okay, let's see it. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Oh, because we're supposed to get an extra hero card in the book. Yeah, I remember seeing that, but I didn't quite understand. I don't know. It was weird. It was like a weird little promotional tease, but without context of what that means within the game. I don't know. Let's see. What is up, Willie? How you doing, buddy? Hanging out, painting some awesome models that you sent me this whole stream. Let's all just take a moment to say thanks, Willie. Who the best? Okay, I think this guy's my last one here. Ankle bracelet. Okay, cool. I think we're ready. Thanks, Willie. Thank you, Jordan. How do you paint of the pot? Evan, go ahead and rewrite that for me. I don't think I understand. How do I paint of the pot? Okay, now we're going to throw... I'm just going to give this a hot second to dry. Then we're going to throw a wash down. Now, just to brace y'all for impact in case you are a painter and you're about to cringe like you've never cringed before... I am going for a very deeply saturated color kind of a thing, vaguely in the vein of John Blanchitsu style thing, where it's like very dark and gritty looking colors, and so you're going to see me douse these guys and wash multiple times. And so if you're like, what are you doing? You're killing it. You know, that's pretty much what's going to happen. To which I respond, sorry, not sorry. Sorry, how do you paint out of the pots? My paint's are just goopy. I only do it with metallics. I don't know why, I just never have problems with metallics. Every other paint, you're going to see me thin it out a bit. Speaking of which, I should probably have my palette here. And yes, for most of the colors, I use contrast, which you don't have to thin out. An unwash, if you will, exactly. I'd watch a narrative campaign of Silver Tower. Oh, you're about to get it, buddy. I'm going to make my guest roleplay and everything. Question, will Silver Tower Curse City participants be required to appear on video stream on YouTube, or are the games played in private? So essentially, if you're curious as to how I have this set up, I have a special Discord that I'm going to invite every patron and YouTube member to. In there, I'm going to divide people up. Like, it'll be a Discord where everyone can chat with everyone, but for the purposes of scheduling a game, it'll be divided into North America and pretty much everywhere else. Just to kind of get my hemispheres together, if you will. To make it easier to schedule times for groups that work. And then within those groups, if you don't know Silver Tower, I don't know about Curse City yet, but Silver Tower is a game of up to 4 players. So I'm going to pick 4 from those, time zone specific groups, and I'm going to ask them, like, hey, listen, guys, do you mind if I record this? Well, I'm going to record it because I have to chop it up into a video anyway. But I'm going to ask if they mind the raw footage being streamed. If the answer is no from any of them, it doesn't get live shown. Because, honestly, you don't have to show your face. You can use an avatar. I just need your voice. And so, my main thing above all else is everybody, it's only fun if we're all having fun. If somebody's uncomfortable or something like that, forget it. That's when a game fails, right? In my opinion. And so that's kind of be my policy, is just I'm just going to ask, and if anybody says no, it's not happening. But if everyone's in accord, yeah, then I'll throw up a raw footage video, and along with, the kind of cleaned up version. Afterwards. So, yeah. So, I mean, and because of that, I understand that having the raw playthrough is going to be hit or miss, because some people are going to not mind, so the people are. And so that'll be inconsistent, but quite frankly, I don't care. Like I said, it's all about whoever's comfortable, and some people are not afraid of playing, role-playing games with others, but they're like, those same people can be cripplingly afraid of saying something embarrassing online, or that kind of stuff. And so, again, the whole point is just, as long as everyone's comfortable. That is my, again, it kind of goes back to the whole, I think philosophy is kind of a strong word, but the idea behind the channel is just, people come first. Anybody doesn't want to do it, that's the way it be. Let's see. Stop the minis already dead. I can hear Squigmore saying. Well, he and his fancy brushes can get out. He's an awesome guy. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but I did a commercial for him when he launched his brushes, and I was so humbled that he reached out to me. Made my day. But yes, I have no doubt that my painting style would make real artists cringe. I'm sure Vince Ventrola is constantly like grinding his teeth. Like, I'm sure I've caused actual dental damage to him. And multiple times he's tried to help me, and I'm like, oh, this is great, I'm gonna do this all the time. And then the minute the stream's over, I'm like, what did he teach me again? because they're just too dang nice. He did. Vince came on for a great episode about basing, because I said that I hate basing on a stream, and he was like, "We need to fix this," because he was being polite. He was like, you paint so well. I would hate to see them not have bases and that kind of, not good bases and that kind of stuff. And because of that, I did take the challenge. I did my maggot kin to the highest basing level I've ever done, and then I decided I hate every second of it. Like, even when I was just like factory style cranking out those bases, I did like Green Stuff World, like, model rollers or green stuff rollers or whatever, so I could like make them look super nice. I had like decks of a ship, and then, my God, the second I had to do more, like past my initial batch, I was like, I just hate this. It was like a Beavis and Butthead moment where you just kind of stare off into space. You're like, well, this sucks. That's exactly how I felt about them. And that's honestly one of the reasons I did sell off that army. I mean, I kept enough to play Warcry with, because I wanted to have something to remember them by, and I kept the Glotkin, because he's my boy. But everything else, I was like, I don't ever want to add to it. Thinking about adding to it actively makes me sad. Get it out of here. Let's see. Yeah, texture paint for the win. Exactly. And, I did take lessons from what Vince said. He had a great point of, if you put a wash on some of like the little shrubs and that kind of stuff, it'll help the color kind of bleed into the base, and all of a sudden it looks more natural. Like, that is my favorite tip that he gave. I absolutely do that every time still. So, I mean, I joke, but it's not like, it's not like I truly don't value people's opinions. But yeah, that's always the thing. My players are pretty good about staying in character during gameplay, to be honest. So, like, I feel you, but also not. You could do live streaming with a crowd if you used Crowdcast. Okay. Am I hyped for Cursed City? Absolutely. I'm so hyped that I went out and I got Silver Tower from a buddy. And just so I can, honestly, part of it is I also want to have videos that compare and contrast them, because we can look at the images from the Cursed City preview that they put out and tell that they're very similar. I would say that Cursed City is going to be closer to Silver Tower than it is Blackstone Fortress, just based on the books that come included, because it has the exact same books and layout as Silver Tower does. There's some very clear differences when it comes to the dice and that kind of stuff that I'm very curious to see what the upgrade is. But it's the same format where you have like a rules book, but then separately from that you have the adventure book, and then I'm sure as you explore the city, it'll have you reference the story from the adventure book, kind of a thing. But yeah, black rounds are so okay. Spezia, you just spoke my truth. Black round bases are the best because they look good on any playmat. They look consistent, and I have gotten pushback on this from so many frickin' people. I also agree. Solid black bases. Keep them that way. I love it. Oh man, it's just like I'm not trying to make a model train set and everything has to blend together and be a cohesive. No. And hey, the best painters always say that matching paint schemes make the whole army come together. What's more classic than a simple black base, Let's see. Are the heroes going to be cross-compatible between Cursed City and Silver Tower? I'm going to pretty much come out and say no, with an asterisk. So if you look at the hero card in the preview image for like the contents of the Cursed City box, you can actually see one of the hero's cards up front. For her stats and stuff like that, it actually has symbols instead of numbers, which I'm assuming correspond to different dice that you would roll. So that's awesome because it just adds more diversity to like what you need to roll and the odds and that kind of stuff. So that's cool. On surface level, I would say no. However, I think that would be very easily like backwards compatible. Like if they just put out a PDF that said, "Hey, all your hero cards are still legit. Just when you see this number, switch it to this die," kind of a thing. So I think it would be a pretty easy swap. But straight out of the box, I do not think so. That's the sense that I got because I have these. Stop trying to make black faces a thing. Yeah, I've been poring over these books, and this is it. This is the rule book. It's very simple. Half of it's just freaking pictures, and then the actual adventure book is where all the actual plot and stuff like that happens. But yeah. Other day of PDF, more like a $35 card pack, which I will buy. Well, you know, I will say for that kind of supplementary stuff, I don't know. To me, Warcry is the gold standard of how Games Workshop can support a game to keep it compelling for people who have already bought in. Because they have tons of free stuff for Warcry. There's all different kinds of challenge battles, unique heroes. You know, they put out like the Go Trick card and all that kind of stuff in a White Dwarf. They don't do that for all their other games, and I don't really understand why. You know, obviously money, but at the same time, it's like there are other ways to support a game for free to make you feel like you're getting a good deal while still milking your wallet. Which is essentially what I feel like Warcry does to me. Now, I like Deep Kin Flesh, but man, it is a chalky paint. I want to read that adventure booklet. No, don't read it. I'll spoil it for you. If you don't know how these kinds of games work, because I can say these kinds of games because we have seen the preview picture of Cursed City. So essentially, you and your crew are going to choose a mission. In Silver Tower, I was kind of go through that one because it's the one I have. We would say, okay, we're going to hunt for an amulet from Chamon, essentially. The core crux of the game is you are trying to collect shards of an amulet that will reveal a Gaunt Summoner's name, and therefore you will get control over him. So that's the ultimate goal of the game. So you have to find 8 different shards, one corresponding to the Mortal Realms. So you decide what adventure you're going on. I assume the equivalent in Cursed City will be we're going to conquer a specific location as dictated by the map on their website. And then once you choose that, the game tells you, okay, you're going to pick out all of the tiles and the story beats that have a symbol that correspond to that specific adventure you want to go on. And that forms the deck of tiles that depict what kind of areas your heroes are going to have to fight through, kind of a thing. Some of them are generic, some of them, like they could work for multiple locations, some of them are highly specific. And at the end of it, there's usually a boss battle, which is rad. And so what happens is you will open up a new room, and then the actual card that corresponds to that room will be like, hey, read the narrative prompt on page 57 or something like that. So then someone will grab the card and they'll read the prompt, and that'll kind of give you your story beat for that room. What's going on, how many enemies there are, that kind of stuff, all that jazz. And so, yeah, as you're going, you're exploring new rooms, flipping new cards that are telling you more enemies are in here, that kind of stuff. So that's how I imagine it will function. Just based on the booklets and stuff like that. The problem I had with Blackstone Fortress is that it did get a little in the weeds because it wanted to have its own like combat systems and all these kinds of things, and it's like, don't make this more complicated than it needs to be. There was like 6 booklets in that thing, I swear. It was ridiculous. That's why I didn't grab it, because I was at the store holding it in my hand, and I was like, oh man, I can get Blackstone Fortress, and we can play that too. And then I was just looking at it, and I was like, this seems intimidating as F. I don't want to play this. Let's see. Are you going to pick up the Hero Quest reprint? No, I don't know anything about Hero Quest, if I'm perfectly honest with you. I don't have any nostalgia attachment for it. You know, it's one of those things, like, I'll level with you. If this live, Let's Play thing pans out, I'm going to go to a game store and I'm going to clear out their shelves. Because I just like hanging out with people, and then, quite frankly, just speaking now as 2+ tough small business, not just Doug. But, like, I don't own anything when it comes to Age of Sigmar. I'm not an intellectual property rights holder, nothing like that. But one thing I can own is myself, my experiences with people. And so if I can create a cool online experience where we can play games together, that's something I can own. And, it kind of protects me on a business level, as far as, like, I'm not just over-reliant on another company, in this case Games Workshop. But yeah. So, I'll play whatever. I don't know anything about that one, to be honest with you. So, like, if it pans out and people enjoy it, and it helps with things like patron subscribers and stuff like that, just stuff that helps me and my wife have money in the savings account and eventually probably have a kid or something like that, then I will absolutely do it. I will order the hell out of that remake of Warhammer Quest. Hell, I'll play Twister with you, I don't care. And literally anyone can beat me, so Sounds like a plan. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Okay, you guys are chat over there. Did you see the new vampire with the Skaven pelts? I did. Newest Skaven model in years we have gotten. Shout out. Chew from Rerolling Ones made that joke, and I was like, you need to post this or I'm going to steal it. Because it is true. It is the most recent Skaven model we have gotten. Alright, and one more with this skin. And we'll move into the Caucasian skin. We'll pick that out. A bunch of Skaven assassins wearing a skin of a vampire. Now that would be a twist. If that's how it actually came out to be, that it wasn't a vampire model, but was in fact a bunch of cleverly disguised rats, I'd be like, good one, G-dubs. You got me. I'll buy it just cause. Okay. Let's see. So the Horde, 2 models. Okay, right on. Oh, I know that. I know they're not actually Skaven, Kenzie. I know. I was just making a joke. We haven't had a. What was the last Skaven model we got? The Warlock Bombardier. Is that it? That's the last one I can think of. You can transform into a pack of giant rats. That would be cool too. I mean, hey. I feel like that's a more useful power than some of the other stuff we got in the Mortal Realms. Yeah, Warlock Bombardier. Yeah, it wasn't too long ago, but I don't know. I still feel, for as iconic and original as this Skaven intellectual property is, I'm just so surprised there's not more support for it. If I'm super honest with you. That's another one where I'm just like, I don't get the, what are you guys doing? Hate to be the guy with a joke, but Skaven had a Warhammer Underworlds warband. Yeah, I remember those, but for some reason I thought the Bombardier Rat came out after that. Because you're right. Hey Doug, question. Do the Gravewalkers fulfill your need for new zombies? If you get to buy them separately. No, I don't think so. Mainly because they're all very samey. I actually love the sculpts. There's a lot of people who don't like the whole, like, they're nailed to a board or something like that. I love it. The thing with them, though, is that they're all that way. If they come out with, like, even just a 10-man zombie kit that's different poses, and I can mix those in, then yes. I don't need it to be a big, 40-dude block or whatever. I don't have to be crazy or anything like that. Just something where I can add a little bit of diversity. If you like wargaming, chess, and deck building, Underworlds is the game. It is true. It is true, and that's why I'm so surprised that Games Workshop didn't do Underworlds as their Magic the Gathering thing, It's just like, man, it just looks like it could be such a perfect fit to get all just to get that highly specific kind of nerd into your into your wheelhouse. Like, man, it feels like there should have been some Underworlds love. I understand that 40K is a much more recognized intellectual property, though, so I get it. But also I don't. You know what I mean? I feel like that's most of life for me. I get it, but also I kind of don't. Do the Michael Scott. Explain it to me like I'm 5. Explain it to me like I'm 4. Let's see. Played my first Siege match in AOS for my birthday. Sweet, dude. What Who was the attacker / defender? Love siege battles. I guess when I mean, it's been so long since I've seen the Lord of the Rings movies. But yeah, just those iconic scenes like Helm's Deep and is it Minas Tirith, something like that. Just in crazy cool scenes of battles and that kind of stuff. I just love it. Eat it right up. Let's see. For some reason, this guy's skin came out like much more pale than the other ones. Maybe I just didn't throw enough contrast on it. Okay, so I thought if I ever ran out of conversation material, just off the top of my head, I actually have the latest White Dwarf next to me, and I would actually love... Could be just an administrative thing. Same thing happened to loads of 40k miniature. Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry. Yeah, sometimes I miss the conversations y'all are having. But I can hang out and grab my White Dwarf. We can walk through it together. Just uploaded New name. Okay. That was a really good siege on rerolling ones. Oh yeah, that was a blast. I'll tell you what though, man. That was a long ass day. That was a long frickin' day. Give me 1 second, just grabbing a paint. Betsy again. Been talking a ton this stream. Here's more. Oh, buddy. Don't you worry about it. You talk as much as you want. You think we're getting Dark Elves this year? What is it? It's March? I wouldn't bet on it, but... and again, I'm not really betting on much in 2021. If I'm honest with you. I find that if I set the bar very low, I'm rarely disappointed. Defenders were orders of Sigmar, Lumineth, Realm Lords, and Caradron, and my Daughters of Cain versus Chaos, Slaanesh, Tzeentch, and 2 Skaven armies. That is a hell of a battle, man. Right on. I wasn't quite sure what brown to go with on that skin, but let me see. I can do something better than that. Okay, let's try this. Doug, I vowed not to buy anything more this year, so I'm redirecting my hobby budget to support content. Oh, buddy, thank you so much. That is so kind of you. I want to try to buy less stuff, but more meaningful things. You know what I mean? Like, so for example, like the Silver Tower thing, like it's there to facilitate hanging out and playing games with people, specifically online, which is both a business thing, but also it's just a me thing. I just enjoy hanging out with people and want to try something different. You know, just kind of adapting to the fact that who knows when we'll get to do it in person again. You know, it just seems like it's taking forever, but it'll come. Might need to do another wash on these guys to get the dark skin to kind of match up. I will say, I do typically like my trick of doing for dark skin like a 2-to-1 mix of contrast Sigor brown, but man, sometimes it gets so splotchy if you don't do it just right. Get that kind of coffee stain look on miniatures here and there, which is a bummer, but it happens rare enough. City fell not to chaos. Oh, nice. I love it. Hey Doug, have you played any more Underworld online? Really getting into it with Stormshire's Cursebreakers. You know, I haven't tried that in a while. I should really try that again. I did enjoy it when I was hanging out with people. That's a good point. Definitely should. I just got so bogged down with the list building aspect. It's always where I run out with that game. Just not a list builder in my heart. That's why I just defer to Jack for everything. Jack, tell me what's good. But if he's not into it, then I'm just like totally hosed. Like if I can't outsource that kind of stuff, by outsource, of course, I mean let someone do all the hard work for me. Then I'm in trouble. Let's see. If you had to pick, would you rather play Age of Sigmar or 40k? Age of Sigmar by a mile. Yeah, I would play Age of Sigmar. I wish more people thought the same way. It's just, you know, mechanically, there's a lot of similarities about the game. I find the communities and honestly just Games Workshop's treatment of the two communities to be very different. Whereas I feel like so many products that come out for 40k in terms of like box sets and stuff like that, they legitimately feel like I don't know who this product is for, and that's when you get into the territory of people accusing GW of being money grabbing. Everything's money grabbing. It's like, well, they're a business, they got to sell stuff. But you know, when it comes to the point of you don't know who a product is for, that's a problem. And then just reselling things just to sell them, like here's a book with a special, you know, outro that wasn't in the original release, so people are rebuying the same thing. You know, you got the whole crew of people that like, because of my rampant acne, I wasn't able to join the Marines, and so I'm going to demonstrate my tactical acumen by becoming a general of this Imperial Guard army. And you're like, buddy, calm the F down. I don't know how serious you can be when it's space lizards shooting dinosaur crystals. I feel like that's a little more chill in my style. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go AOS. I feel like it's a little bit more chilly. Chill. Let's see. I do truly believe the rules are better. And that, I mean, what makes a good rule set is a very, you know, personal opinion thing. But even when it comes down to like how you access the rules and that kind of stuff, I still think AOS wins. So it looks like I'm a bit behind you on this project. I just picked up the box yesterday. What's your status? So I have everything built and painted, and these acolytes are what I chose to start with. So this is where I'm at. You're looking at it. And then hopefully after these, I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to alternate between heroes and villains. So the next thing I'll paint will be a hero. Then I'll grab a few more, you know, baddies. Paint them up. But yeah. Spezia, right now, Underworlds is kind of rough because they've introduced the ban list of Season 1 without Season 2 all the way out yet. Interesting. Doug, I just signed up for my first meeting engagement tournament. Have I ever played that game mode? I've only played it with Jack. We did it once, and it was... what, KO versus Stormcast? Yeah, I think that was it. I didn't care for it, at least. You know what it is? I feel like... and again, keep in mind, this is the first edition of meeting engagements, not... They re-released it in the next General's Handbook, and I have not tried that version, so I'm sure they cleaned it up a bit. I have no doubt. But basically, when we drew the mission and the deployments and that kind of stuff, it became immediately clear that I could have almost auto won. Like, we were looking at it, and it was about getting to the center of the board, and I had all of the Stormcast Eternal Vanguard stuff that can, like, teleport, you know, the chocobos and that kind of stuff, teleport around, so I could have just moved forward and blocked him out, but that would have been no fun, so I decided to teleport them to like his back end and have a little fight, and ultimately he cleaned my clock with some KO stuff. But it was just one of those things that, like, because the mission ended in 3 rounds, I could have just moved up, and because he's Duarden and on foot, he would have never gotten there, and we would have had a completely non-interactive game. So that was my first thought. But again, like I said, that was a very specific matchup, and I don't quite know how the game has evolved beyond that. But yeah. Okay, so now the wash is dry. We're going to go back over and we're going to pick out the colors on their clothes. And we'll be donezo. I'm going to do all the basing at once because I hate basing. I don't know if I made that clear enough for you. So we need... Let's start with the yellow. The new meeting engagements is much improved. That's fantastic. Awesome. I'm super glad to hear it. Also super glad to hear that there's a tournament circuit that's trying to do different stuff. The first iteration was just terrible. I would agree. I don't think it was a very fun experience. However, what I do think is that basically they were like, oh God, what are we going to put in this GHB? And then at the same time they were developing Warcry, and they're like, hey, Sam Pearson over there, he's got some cool ideas. Just copy paste. And that's exactly what it felt like, because the Warcry deployment alone, I just don't feel like worked enough for the full game of AOS. And then, I don't know. Yeah, that's how I would say. So I feel like hopefully it's in a much better place. I just didn't care for it in its first iteration. But that's the only one I have experience with. So I am totally up for trying it again. And I'm just doing a lot of stippling just to kind of add some just different looks to the cloth. Okay. Wunderbar. Okay. And very carefully just going in and applying just little highlights in here. Trying to get some of the yellow to pop just a bit on the shield. Oh, Doug is live when I'm awake. Hey, Coach. What is up? What is up? Doug, would you be interested in pre-painted bases? I actually have some from Gamergrass, sent me a bunch. And I still have them. I do like them. They don't quite match what I wanted to go for with this army, so I decided to opt out of that. But in general, like just as a general idea, yeah, absolutely, I would be totally down with that. Provided that they had all the base sizes I needed for a specific army project. Or, within reason. If they have all the 32s and the 25s and that kind of stuff, and it's just a matter of the weird ones like cavalry bases to have to do on my own, that'd be fine, as long as it's easy to replicate. Let's see. AOS, another greatest of all time. Oh yeah, AOS coach. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Now it feels like its own thing. Okay, cool. I'm glad that the format kind of took off a bit. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I wouldn't. I just like smaller format things. Actually, this weekend, I'll talk about it again on While You're Reforging, but this weekend I actually met up with the cool guy named Kyle, and we hung out and we played a 1,000-point game. It's like his second game, I think. And I have to say, like, I just in terms of the amount of time it took and that kind of stuff, it's like, man, I had a wonderful time. I did. I had an absolute blast. And so that was very refreshing for me, to be honest with you, of just like it didn't take hours and hours, and I don't know. I like to me, like after 2 hours, my brain just shuts off when it comes to games. I'm not sure why that is. That just seems to be my, and that honestly, like that does dictate how I build my armies. Like when I was doing my Beasts of Chaos stuff, it's like, okay, this army got one trick. I'm gonna run up into your face and punch it, and if that doesn't work, you win, and if it does, I win. And either way, it's pretty clear what's going to happen by the end of round 2. And there's a simple beauty in that. Let's see. Hey Doug, what realm do you think the siege took place in? It's been on my mind all day. What realm do you think the siege took place in? I don't know what you mean. Oh, if you mean the one from today's story, it's in Gur. Yeah, that was the lore contest. Was that was the whole contest. Was just give me a cool story from Gur. It's my favorite realm. At least conceptually. I love when the Sons of Behemoth book was coming out, and they were like, "Do you wish more things came from Gur?" And they had a map of Gur in there, or parts of Gur anyway. It was just like, yeah, absolutely. I want to go to there. I just want scuttlings. I think we're past that, unfortunately. Like as a unit. I mean, they're in Silver Tower still. You can still get them. Do they still have a War Scroll? Like, did they keep the War Scroll for these things? I don't actually know. I know all the heroes still do. Actually, and just in saying that, I'm not sure. Is there an Excelsior War Priest War Scroll still? Come to think of it, I don't remember seeing it in the Cities of Sigmar book, but I could be wrong. It's been a while since I cracked that open. Okay. Thank you for the Lonesome Road rule set. I plan on using it as soon as I get my warband painted up. Yeah, buddy. So mine is free. I did submit it to GW a long time ago, and they did pretty much tweak it and clean it up. So if you want a better version of that, actually, it's in the Tome of Champions, which is the Warcry book, kind of like the GHB. Obviously, mine's free. Feel free to use it. It's still up there. I don't have to take it down or anything. But it's you can tell. But the second you look at it, you're like, oh yeah, this is just like the Lonesome Road thing. But they did clean up bits and pieces of it that I think I did a good job. Trucking right along. Sorry I get quiet sometimes. These yellow details get a little bit touch and go sometimes. Oh, awesome. Just got Tome of Champions delivered today. Yeah, it's in the, what's it called? No, I can't remember what it's called, but it's back in the challenge battle section. Basically, it's, yeah, you can have an AI run your opponent. But yeah, I hope you like it. Nope, Excelsior War Priest is gone. Bummer. Gruntmaster Games. Doug, what armies do you have? Right now, I have my Slaves to Darkness. Right at about 1,000. Well, I mean, it depends on how you measure it out. So, basically, I have a Slaves to Darkness army, a burgeoning Tzeentch army. I got some Skaven stuff, although that's more of a painting project than an army, if I'm honest with you. I wanted to do like a throwback project to like old white dwarf armies, so that's what that is, more than a playable force. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. The thing is, I don't keep armies that I paint. I tend to sell them and or trade them. I'm somebody, I like painting projects, but my love of painting projects exceeds the amount of room, you know, in my house or on this earth, and so I have to actually clear stuff out. Which boggles the minds of many, but that's how I do my hobby. So if you ever, I mean, and I don't do commissions, so if you ever want me to paint something for you, here's what you do. Here's a little insider tip. Get me super excited about an army. Like, oh man, Doug, you know, let's say Cities of Sigmar. Cities of Sigmar is the coolest thing. Oh yeah, Anvilgard, the best city in the whole wide world. Oh man, I just wish I, you know, some YouTuber had an army that looked stellar like that. And then you sell it to me, and then I paint it up, and then I give it right back. Which is basically how most of Jack's armies have been painted. Because I tend to just sell it to them because I want to see it on rerolling ones. So how many armies do I have? Probably just one. How many armies have I owned? Many. Did I already see the new... Yep, I saw it. A secret scam in action. Oh, man. Doug, oh, I have this painted. How do I trade this for my next project? Honestly, brilliant. Yep, pretty much. That's exactly how it goes down. Doug, a Warcry question. Where do I get / what is the easiest way to get the rules for Stormcast? My friend just got Corvus Cabal and wants to play. Just grab the Champions of Order book. They have a book for each Grand Alliance, and that's the one that'll have all of the Stormcast stuff in it. But yeah. Oh, BioFed already answered you. There you go. Yep. The card packs, I honestly don't even bother with the card packs, because the thing is, in my opinion, I see the release of the Grand Alliance books as a soft second edition like reset for Warcry, and the reason is the rules have changed regarding leaders and allies and that kind of stuff and how you build your forces. And so it gives you so many more options in the books that have come out that I think it's a night and day difference. I wouldn't even waste my time with the cards anymore, to be honest with you. Even as a quick reference, nah. Wouldn't even bother. We actually had to have a discussion with my buddy Rob. We were playing through some Warcry campaign stuff, and he wanted to do a different hero. He's like, yeah, but it's only available in the book, and we started the campaign with the cards, and I was like, forget it. It's just soft reset. Pick whatever hero you want. Let's have some fun. That's the joy of gaming with a narrative, guys. I don't care what the book says. Do whatever the hell you want. Let's see. Doug, are the K-Knight faction in the new Warcry box playable in AOS? Yes, they are. And they're quite good. Very aggressively costed, from what I understand. They have some pretty cool little shticks. I don't know much about them because I don't understand. I say I don't understand Daughters of Cain. I don't really know much about Daughters of Cain as a faction, so I can't comment a whole lot, but from what I understand, people seem very, very excited to have them. Screenshots for the win. Yeah. Y'all do you. Hi there. Really love your videos. Listen to nearly every... Oh, thank you so much, buddy. Very, very kind of you to say. I enjoy making them. Hope that everyone enjoys this. This week I'm doing a bunch of live streams trying to get this game set up. And so the videos that are coming out this entire week are the lore contest winners. Because it turns out, if you don't know, the most time-consuming part of what I do is just writing notes for the videos. Like coming up with the script, and you know, I struggle to call it research when it's just reading nerd books about nerd stuff, but you know, I guess that's what it is. That is the most time-consuming part, and so give myself a break so I don't go insane. Mostly just going to focus on painting this week, which is fun. I enjoy painting. We're cranking these dudes out. Actually, did I miss his back thing? I did. Apparently the Shadowstalkers are primo Order Alliance because they are cheap and can teleport. Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, because you can just have them in the back. You know, basically they're so cheap, you can just throw them in the backfield and just, you know, use them to keep your opponent from teleporting to you, and then once the objectives are cleared off by, you know, the rest of your murder bikini ladies, then you just teleport them on. Get the objective. Get gains. Just need to thin that out a bit more. Okay, there we go. Doug, you're full-time now? It is research. Oh, it's funny. Oh, thank you so much. Don't ever doubt yourself. There'll be millions who do that for you. Well, you know. They can form their own club. Do their own research, watching my videos, pointing out all the times I'm wrong. Let's see. Love your videos, love your enthusiasm. Oh, thank you so much, Francis. That's so kind of you. Now I've got about 40 squigs. Oh! Don't you put that evil on me. It's not my fault. Oh, man. Oh, wait. I already did that guy. No, I did. Okay. Man, I'm losing my mind. I thought I already painted this guy, and I just put... There's a doubles of each sculpt, and I just put one right back into the pile. So I was like, man, this guy looks familiar. There we go. There's my done pile over there, the Dunzo. You're done. And your tabard thing is still not right. Awesome. Done. Done. Oh yeah, that was my test model. He's done. How long do you think it will take to complete this project? I've budgeted 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Given the standard to which I'm gonna paint the enemies, I plan to have this all knocked out this week, which is why I scheduled all these live streams back to back to back. Because, for example, with the exception of basing, I'm almost done with these acolytes. Let's see. Give me 1 sec. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. On a personal note, I just had instrumentals from one of my poems get picked up to be used as the entrance theme for TNA Wrestling. What is TNA Wrestling and how can I share it with the world? That's so cool, dude. I'm not a man who knows much. So I'm just going back through and I'm just picking out the little gems and stuff, little eye gems. Just throwing a small dash of color in there. Doug is a TNA man. I have no idea what that. Oh, tag team stuff. I don't know a thing about any of that. That is its own special kind of nerd that I am not privy to, that I do not understand. But I'm here for it. I tried to get into wrestling, like, because Jack, you would go to wrestling matches, and I was like, man, I would totally go with you, because it just seems like, you know, really, it is basically just soap operas for men and testosterone. And I'm totally down with that, you know, for entertainment purposes, absolutely. And, but I couldn't find a good, like, entry point, you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, it just seemed like, I don't know any of these characters. You know, the ones that I know are all friggin' dead or something, like a Macho Man, Randy Savage, that kind of stuff from my childhood. So I was never into it as a kid, which is surprising because it seems like something to be right up my alley. Wrestling is just soap operas for men. Exactly. Oh, man. Clutch comments. Yeah, you know, it's just, you try, there's got to be entry points. You got to be like a start here thing, you know? Instead, it's just like, the most I know about wrestling nowadays is just Vince McMahon memes of him, like, leaning back in his chair with some awkward facial expressions that I don't like to think about. Oh, and there was the one time where they jammed his face in someone's butt on live TV, or not live TV, you know, during a match. So, you know, there's tons of stuff going on that I'm just like, well, I just hope we're all having fun. Think Mix-a-Lot for the portion of the coach alluding to. Fun fact, I am related to the macho man on my father's side. Caleb wins the chat, everybody. Might as well just pack it up and go home. No one's going to beat that fun fact. Let me ask you a follow-up question. Are you or are you not a Slim Jim's magnate then? You know, are you just like heir to the Slim Jim's fortune? I assume. Let's see. Doug, I think Real and Jack and I need to hobby hang with you and introduce you to wrestling. I got nothing else going on. I got a week's worth of live streams that I have no content planned for because I'm just sitting here painting. Teach me, Jack and AOS coach. You're my only hope. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing if I did a whole live stream week devoted to Warhammer Quest, and I came out the other side of like, actually, 2+ Tough is now a solely wrestling podcast. We go now live as Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out of what I'm assuming is retirement. I don't know. I don't know if he's still doing things. Think, yeah, got that. Okay. Feel like the answer you're looking for is, oh yeah, it is. It is. And isn't it always? You know, isn't that the answer we're always looking for in life? What storm host would Randy Savage belong to? Is he past life of Hamilcar? Oh yeah, he would be Hamilcar, like 10,000%. Like 1,000,000%. Hamilcar is probably based off of him. Sweet. I'm putting the Kairic Acolytes to the side. We have our first villains painted and done. Let's grab a hero. I need a hero to save me. Okay. And we're gonna go with our Fire Slayer hero, who I am going to affectionately call Nugget, because he's always looking for a nugget of Urgold. And that's how it's pronounced. It's not Nugget. Nugget. Okay. And hey, I've got just the paint for him. You may have heard of it. It's called Fire Slayer Flesh. Affectionately known as Naked Boy in a Pot. All right. Okay. Yes. Yeah. We'll do the 2+ Tough. You know, wrestling recap. As you can see, this large pantsless man just slammed the other large pantsless man. But this one has a matching thong and boots, and they just crushed each other in a move that I can only call a triple stop cow Heimlich. And I don't really know what happened, but there seems to be blood everywhere. The crowd is happy. I don't know what that means. Seems like most of these people are on some form of FBI watch list. Back to you. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Not McNugget? No, not McNugget. He's not, he's not a consumerist Fire Slayer, on the market. By God, Slaanesh broke themselves in half. Let's see. If anyone has ever played the indie game Kindergarten, they will never not associate Nugget with that game. I have not played it, but I'm curious now. Alright, now once the contrast on those Acolytes dries, I am going to throw, I actually have a wash mixed up here where it's 3-to-1 of, what do they call that stuff? Lamia medium and Null oil, like a very thin black wash. And I'm going to douse the whole thing in all those Kairic Acolyte models in that, because what it does is it just sharpens it, brings down the color a smidge. Again, I'm trying to make them loosely match my John Blanche style or color palette army, where everything's very dark and there's a lot of contrast and things like that. Let's see. Gruntmaster Games. Doug, if you ever go to Nebraska, visit the Kool-Aid Museum in Hastings. It's hilarious. Oh my god, yes. That sounds amazing. I feel like the entire museum is just dedicated to telling people that, like, Jonestown didn't use Kool-Aid to kill themselves. They used Flavor Aid. Where you're, like, kind of overcompensating for something. Guys, we didn't kill all those people. The Nugget Pit. Oh my god, that'd be amazing. That also sounds like a disgusting dive bar somewhere in Louisiana, and I would go to there in a heartbeat. The Nugget Pit. I like it. Oh man. Having too much fun. Okay. Now I'm going to throw some Griff Charger Orange on the hair here. To be fair, most of Nebraska is dedicated to that trivia fact. We're not the ones who did Jonestown. Oh, man. So I didn't realize you just needed to add sugar to mix Kool-Aid. Yes. Yeah, it's like 1 metric ton of sugar. Yes, that is my fun fact that I use on people to suss out if we're gonna be friends or not. You know, if you're like at a dinner party and everyone's like, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I have 3 kids." "Oh, yeah, little dog, yeah." And then I just kind of drop the hammer with like, so in Jonestown, it wasn't actually Kool-Aid that they drank to kill themselves. It was actually Flavor Aid. And that's like a really big disservice to the Kool-Aid family line. Because they're catching heat that they don't deserve. And then everyone just kind of backs away slowly. Sugar and Kool-Aid is basically a pixie stick. You're absolutely right. I know the term drinking the Kool-Aid, but I didn't ever know exactly what Kool-Aid is. Yes. So, wow. If we're going into my extensive true crime knowledge, no, basically the phrase "drink the Kool-Aid" came from "Don't fall for a cult leader," something like that, because Jim Jones brought a bunch of people out to Jonestown in Guyana and mixed a bunch of poison in with Flavor Aid, not Kool-Aid. There you go. There's your fun fact, everybody. Kenzie is my unofficial sister. This stream crossover between us is uncanny. That's funny. Doug, I'm sorry, but you don't have the nuggets of friendship you can't enter without... Oh my god. Have we established that whoever plays as Nugget has to put on their best scruffy voice? Oh, absolutely. Yes, there will be role-playing elements to playing on my stream. We got to make it. It's, you know, it's just one of those things, you know, like, how do you bring a community together? The easiest way to bring a community together is to have a deep, dark secret that none of you can share because it's instant blackmail for everybody. So you have to embarrass yourself by acting real weird on the stream, and that just ensures compliance from everybody. This has been Community Building with your friend Doug from 2+ Top. Deep secrets make strong bonds. Oh man. Let's see. All the characters I want to play in Silver Tower are male. Oh, I mean, pick one. Kenzie, if you could have a female version of any of the characters in Silver Tower, what would it be? Let's see. There are war scrolls for all the Silver Tower minis. Let me see. All hail the Doom Nugget. Exactly. Really, how much negative marketing impact did the Jonestown incident have? Actually, that's a great question. I'd never thought about that from the... Did cool... Okay. Hold on one second here. I'm just looking it up. Okay, both Flavor Aid and Kool-Aid reported significant losses the year after the Jonestown incident, but both companies did well. There you go. Got me curious. I'm sorry. Okay, I got totally derailed by my own nerddom. Okay, Dark Oath War Chief. Oh, that's a... I mean... Kenzie, would you be opposed if when you took the role of Dark Oath War Chief, we used the War Queen? Because that's like a 1-for-1 model. That's a very easy fix. If so. Hey, I voice acted for your Necromancer. Does that count? Yes. Or Knight Questor. That would be an easy one too. Oh, Mordian just asked it the second I asked it, and my chat's like several seconds behind you guys. And other Dave too, welcome to Battleline. Thank you so much, buddy. So kind of you. It means the world to me. I'm all for War Queen. I have a character for that ready to go. There you go. Boom. Nailed it. Next problem. Let's just solve all the world's problems real quick here. Alright, where's me silver? Thing is, this little dude is gonna paint up so quick because there's so little to a Fire Slayer model. Like in terms of just the amount of stuff, he's like 90% skin. So we'll just get some metal here on the weapons, and then we'll wash him down. I'm going to spend some extra time building his beard up, though. So I really like putting the Griff Charger down as like a base for orange, because the way that I did my Fire Slayer army before contrast paints came out is I had to like cover the whole thing like in Jakiro orange just to get some kind of orange baseline, and then you can build up the brighter colors from there. But the Griff Charger makes it so simple. Just to have that little hue, you know, and then you can do highlights based off of that. I'm actually going to put a wash on and go darker and then build it up brighter. All the way to where there's Kindle Flame, which is like the warmth fire effects or whatever on the edges. So he'll look better at the end. He's not going to stay quite as nuggety. Let's see. Queen Apparent Evangeline, I don't know how to pronounce that, is ready to go knock off some Tzeentch cowards. Sweet. Some people like athletic people performing choreographed simulated combat. Some people like watching human tragedy told in documentary form. To each their own. It's exactly right. Yes. Glad you asked. Question: how would you go about making room temperature superconductor that isn't ceramic and can be drawn into wires? Wow. Here's what I would say. A non-ceramic super... stick 2 wires into a potato and light a light bulb. That is probably very wrong, but that's what I'm gonna say. Doug, any nuggets of wisdom you can give to a new Star Wars Legion player from the games you've played so far? Actually, yes. Wow, this feels good. You know, honestly, it's a piece of advice that works in AOS and 40k to an extent. Basically, there's a lot to memorize. There's a bajillion different keywords and that kind of stuff for abilities, and what I would say is get some index cards, or just any piece of paper really. Go through your unit cards, whatever faction you wanted to start playing, and pick out the weapon keywords and unit keywords, passive abilities, that kind of stuff, and write them down on the cards for your own memory. The thing is, if you just read the rulebook and you're trying to take in all of the available keywords and special abilities, it's so much. Like, it's so overwhelming. But if you just focus on the things that are actually relevant to you and your units, it is really not that much at all. Because unit to unit, there is not a whole lot going on. It's just in kind of the broad scheme of the game that there's a lot of stuff. So I would say just focus on knowing what your force does, and then, anything else, just ask your opponent. Like, hey, listen, I'm new to the game. What the hell does that mean? Oh, can you tell me what I should be looking out for? That kind of stuff. Just do that. That's what I would suggest. There's enough to learn. I would also say that lightsaber users are extremely difficult. I have had the heckin' hard time getting them into combat because, they tend to get blown off the table on their approach. But once they're there, they're brutal. Like, I had Luke just hammer through a whole bunch of stuff in the most badass way ever. But getting him there to do that was extremely difficult. Thin dye paints? I do. Just with metals, I don't. My Star Wars Legion advice is to shoot the heroes. But what's interesting about Legion, though, for the most part, I find for the most part, the heroes are not the centerpieces of synergy like they are in Age of Sigmar or a myriad of games. Where like, because for example, I don't know where this. So imagine if AOS, all of your command traits and artifacts and that kind of stuff from your general got transferred to another hero when your general died. Technically, you have another, hero model that can be designated as a general, but like it's different. So unit to unit, you can actually have a lot more synergies. For my guys, so all of my units are based around Hoth, which is my favorite scene in the originals. And so for me, specifically, the Hoth stuff, it does a pretty good job of buffing other Hoth stuff. You know, they have like a rule called coordinate, which is like, hey, if I have one unit shooting at something, another guy can basically jump the line of I go, you go, and shoot along with him at a reduced kind of efficiency. And there's all kinds of stuff like that. So I feel like there's more unit to unit synergy rather than just a hero buffing stuff. Now, of course, there's exceptions to that. There are heroes that do a lot of, you know, force multiplier, that kind of stuff. But I think for the most part, at least for my dudes, it's been pretty good. Like Luke got punked really early, and you know what? It didn't really affect my game plan. So I'm cool with that. He's kind of his own thing off there, just being a beast. Oh, hold on, I lost the chat here. If your lightsabers are getting killed, you're not playing with enough terrain. Yeah. So I'm part of a local league, and I'm not sure who is dictating the tables, to be perfectly honest with you. Because there should be enough terrain for basically a hero to like snake up the board. In the first game I played back when I had my droids, that's exactly what I did. Dooku was able to get up the table pretty easily, but my last game, Luke just took cannons to the face. Caleb, Doug, Coke or Pepsi? Ooh. Kenzie did actually name my favorite beverage. I actually have a Dr. Pepper right next to me. I would say a good alternate to Dr. Pepper that I like is Mr. Pibb. Mr. Pibb is my boy. It's basically Dr. Pepper with kind of a stronger cherry taste. Actually, it tastes just like Dr. Pepper cherry, but without the, you know, extremely long extra sounding name. Dr. Pepper cream soda? Oh, no. Don't ruin Dr. Pepper with your cream soda. Get that out of here. Let's see. Doug, my boy, Mr. Pibb and Dr. Pepper for the win. Yeah. This guy gets it. And let's see. I'm going to wait to do all the jewels in his hair because I'm just going to dry brush some different kinds of gold right over it, so there's no really a point there. I'm just going to go through, pick out some of these runes all over. Man, I haven't painted a Fire Slayer guy in so long. Well, I guess since I owned the army before. That's not true. I painted a little bit after I sold them to Jack because he had a few extras that needed to be done. And man, I stalled on those guys forever. Sorry, Jack. They're done now, but I drug my heels on painting them because once I'm done with a project, like, it's dead to me. You know? I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna call it here. I will never paint another Plague Monk. Plague Monks, they're donezo. I'll paint Clan Rats. Clan Rats are fine. How many rerolling one models were once yours? Oh god. Okay. Let me list these off here. So rerolling ones has my Iron Jaws army. They have Bone Splitters. I guess they're both Orc War Clans, but they weren't when I sold them off respectively. What else? Fire Slayers. Shu has a whole bunch of Chaos Marauders that I painted. A lot of Slaves to Darkness stuff. War Clans, Fire Slayers. I can't think of anything else. Jack, can you? I see you listed of the ones that I mentioned. I feel like there was more than that, but I can't remember. Yeah, I didn't sell the Tzeentch Demons to you. I don't think I've ever sold anything to Brent because he likes to paint his own models in his own time. Sell me your next army. I'd love an Archaon. Oh, you're gonna have to work harder to get me to do it than that, man. You gotta like sugar me up. You gotta be like, oh yeah, Doug, you should totally play X faction, you know? Yeah, I think you'd really like them. Oh man, have you seen the lore on the Archaon? You know, that kind of stuff. Dazzle me, coach. Let's see. Archaon would be a commitment. That would be a hell of a commitment. I painted an Archaon once. I had a roommate who was getting into the game. Ultimately, he didn't stay with it. He actually sold it off for an even cheaper crackhead price than I would do, as Jack would put it. And yeah, I painted his Archaon up. I liked him. He was cool. He's a cool model. It's a mountain of work to paint that guy. Don't listen. I have a Beast of Chaos army Doug was building. That's true. That's true. Yeah, when I wanted to get back into them, because I realized that the most effective tournament army I ever played was in fact Beast of Chaos. I was like, man, I'm good at one thing apparently. Doug raises prices. I did. Well, you know, the second I took it to, you know, quote unquote, the market, meaning eBay, I realized that I had been undervaluing myself aggressively undervaluing myself. There. So I think for this guy, I'm going to throw a wash on his hair. We got some Fugan Orange. He sold me a 2K Fire Slayer army for 150 bucks. Yep. And I'm not going to lie to you. Some days I really wish I had that. It's rare that I don't really have regrets, but there's just some days that I was like, man, Fire Slayers are rad. You know, it's one of those things that, like, it's an army that part of me wish I still had because, not because I want to play it now, but because if they ever release more diverse models than just Naked Baby Man plus X weapon, I think it could be a way more interesting faction than aesthetically it is right now. I think they went a little too hard into the samey. Remember my dad was anxious that I was playing for keeps for whatever reason? Playing for keeps in a minigame? Nah. That's so funny. His journey to ever chosen was AOS coach. Where's that? Sorry, I was just reading the chat and it's moving a little too fast for me. Okay, let's see. So we got that wash settling. I'm gonna grab my mid brown from Army Paint. Oh no, wait, this, yeah, Army Painter. Let me get my palette back here. You're still going. I left hours ago. I'm gonna wrap up here pretty soon. Once this guy is once the baby's in the bath with all the washes going down. Hey, I'm gonna go have me some dinner here in a bit. Archaon is just a jerk who betrayed the Empire. You're a jerk who betrayed the Empire. You and your gits. Oh man. I'm just adding a little bit of a warm wash to the gold and the skin and all that stuff. And, you know, it's funny I picked him first to do as the hero because I was just saying like, oh yeah, I'm going to take my time on the heroes. I'm going to, you know, really go hard on the colors and add a lot of depth to him. And then I picked like literally the quickest hero to paint because he's just all naked baby all the time. And I'll actually probably put some heat as if his axe is glowing hot. I think that sounds cool. All the better for murderating all kinds of nasty stuff. Now I'm actually kind of debating on how to base these guys. So the heroes don't need to match the Zangor stuff. I'm basing the Tzeentch stuff as if it were my Chaos Army because I want them to mix because I want to be able to take them as Tzeentch stuff. But that's not the same thing for the heroes who are not going to be a part of any specific army at all. So I'm kind of curious as to what I want to base them as. Actually, most of us are the spiritual descendants of jerks who betrayed an empire. Question, what book has the story where Archaon submits all the Gaunt summoners? Where he submits all the Gaunt summoners. I'm sorry, I don't think I understand Mordian. Like where he commands them all? I think that was just mentioned. I don't remember a story. There might be one. I might be totally wrong. Oh, actually, I don't know why I cleaned the brush off. I actually need to do a little bit more of that gold. Here we go. Magma for the Fire Slayer. Ah, but I want them to match, you know? Doug had to run and grab a Dr. Pepper. I want to get them as a sponsor. How cool would that be if like Pepsi or whatever as a sponsor? I would be so down with that. Are we getting a Belakor lore video? Yes. I don't know much about him. It'll take some time. And I might actually just wait and sync it up with when his new model comes out, if I'm being super honest with you. But yes. Honestly, my content, I am spoiled for riches right now when it comes to content stuff because I still got a whole bunch of stuff from the Slaanesh book to talk about. And I just selfishly decided to do this instead. Because this week I was just like, you know what? I want to do this thing. I want to hang out and play games with patrons and yeah. So anyway, all I have to say, next week we'll resume the normal lore stuff and we'll get back to it, but it's going to be a bit before I have a whole lot of stuff to add to the schedule because Lord knows, man, they dumped. I got the Champions of Order stuff from Cubicle 7 for Soulbound, and then we got Heed Knights of Slaanesh, Daughters of Cain. I have a special Daughters of Cain video I'm planning. Let's see, I need to get... Where's my paint? Belakor. And yes, on my channel, that is how it is pronounced. It is not Belakor. It is Belakor. And he does have a French accent. Archeon never saw me coming. For I, Belakor, am the true ever chosen. Silver tower set I was able to find was half assembled, so I just added texture gel to the bases and called it a day. Boom. Got it. Let's see. If you want a good Belakor video, check out Rerolling Ones using Wrath of the Everchosen book. Oh yeah, there's some straight nastiness in there, and that is cool. And I think that's all I need to paint right now. Everything else just needs time to dry, unfortunately. I have a question. So here we go. I have a lot of warm colors with these models. Obviously flesh and the gold, and on my acolytes I have the yellow and the red. For his little tabard, you know, for the baby diaper, I was thinking about something more cold, so like a blue or something like that. What do y'all think? What would be a good color? I mean, blue would be good because it would go as a contrast to the orange. There's purple. Really not super into Fire Slayers having purple. It seems too regal for them. I don't know. Bad French accents are great. Yes, absolutely. Welcome to my silver tower. You're just like, Doug, no one talks like that. Like, literally nobody talks like that. Thunderhawk blue. Oh, that could be cool. Like a grayish blue. Temple Guard. Dark green. See, the dark green would be cool, and that's exactly how I painted my entire Fire Slayer army that I sold to Jack. Because I was like, oh yeah, that's super rad. And it would be rad. It would just be a carbon copy of the other Doomseeker that I painted. Let's see, I kind of want to see Gotrek meeting Jacob Bugman, because in the Realm Lair series, he's always complaining about Bugsman. Other Dave too. One thing I realized after decades of hobby is that this is way too easy to plan your way into getting nothing done. Absolutely. Absolutely. I call it analysis paralysis. People just stare at the model like, I don't know what I want to do. And you're like, well, just start doing stuff. Your Silver Tower final boss needs a bad French accent now. You have made it through my tower. Prepare to die. For I, they gone somewhere. Oh, man. Speaking of Doug's painted army, the video I'm editing features his orcs. Woo, woo. Shout out, Rolling Ones. Go check it out. You want to see some sexy blue orcs? Or, I guess it depends on the kind of orcs, because if they're bone splitters, then they're not sexy blue. They're just sexy green. Okay, friends, I think I'm going to call it this. Wash is still taking forever to dry. But we did some good progress. We got one entire section of the villains done with our Kairic Acolytes over here, and they do match my Chaos army, I think, quite well. I might dirty up the robes a bit more with some brown washes, but I mean, that's a later thing. That's far from necessary. One thing I'll add here on the end. Ba-ba! This boy. So I had a poll, not really a poll, I just, because YouTube only lets you have so many poll options. It's kind of a shame. But I put it up there and I was like, hey, tell me what faction he should be from. And we are going to go with the, what are they called? Hold on. I'm not trying to do dramatic suspense here. Yes. Anvils of the Heldenhammer, the black and gold, which I think is perfect because if he is usable in Cursed City at some point, you know, whether they kind of retroactively make rules for him or whatever, he will make sense being in Shyish. So that is what we are going with. Anyway, friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I will see you tomorrow morning, and we'll be here at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. And like I said, I always have stuff, ideas, content for the background. We can go through the White Dwarf here and talk about some cool stuff. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Y'all have yourselves a wonderful night and happy wargaming.